The next problem reads, state the definition of a rational expression. Well, this gives me kind of a problem because I've spent a good portion of my life trying to avoid memorizing things, and this is one of those items that I have not bothered to memorize. So what will I do here when I'm called upon to state the definition of a rational expression? Well, one thing I might be able to do is just take a look at the word rational, and maybe I could pick out, got something not selected right here. I could pick out this word right here, ratio, and that makes me think of ratio. Well, that's something that could be written as a fraction where you have something on the top and something on the bottom, and I assume it's an expression, so probably an algebraic expression. And so maybe something like x squared, oops, I can write a little bit better than that, not much, x squared, well, maybe I can't. See if I can undo that. So x squared plus 3x minus 2, there's an algebraic expression, and say x plus 4 in the denominator. So I've made a ratio out of an algebraic expression. Now I'm probably not too sure if that's what a rational expression actually is, but actually, if I go down and look at the very next problem, it says a rational expression, and then it has something that looks just like what somewhat similar to what I've just written. And so maybe I have written a rational expression. And what I've written was one polynomial divided by another polynomial, and dividing the answer to a division problem is a quotient, and it turns out all of this is a long-winded way to say what the definition of a rational expression is. It is a quotient. Okay, quotient. And quotient of what? Of, well, what do I have here? That's a polynomial. That's a polynomial. A quotient of two polynomials. And that is the definition of a rational expression. So probably the best bet would be to just memorize what that is, and you wouldn't have to go through this of trying to parse the word rational and come up with ratio and then think what's an expression in a ratio and that type of thing. Just memorize that the definition of a rational expression is a quotient of two polynomials. And speaking of a rational expression, here's one in problem number 4, and this states that the rational expression 20x is in the numerator, x squared plus 1 is in the denominator, describes the concentration of a drug in the bloodstream in milligrams per liter after x hours. Evaluate, it says in part A, the expression for x equals 3. For x equals 3. Well, you may already know by now that evaluate means to replace or plug in, and replace what with what? Well, we're going to replace any place we see an x, we're going to replace it with 3. So we go back up to this rational expression, and I'll start to write it. And when I get to the place where the x is, and I know I'm going to replace that with a 3, but I kind of like to just put a parentheses in there in the beginning and then fill it in with the value after I've completely written the expression. So I'm moving on now, and I'm writing the denominator. So I'm just putting a parentheses in there. I'm squaring that because that's where the x was, and it's just being squared, plus 1. And sometimes this little extra step is helpful. And now I just go back and replace or place into that parentheses what I'm plugging in for x. In this case it's 3, so there's a 3 there and 3 there. Okay, and then the next step is to just go ahead and simplify this. So 20 times 3 is 60. And what do I get in the denominator? I have 3 squared. Well, that's 9. And then plus 1. Okay. And then that just simplifies to 60. And 9 plus 1 is 10. And 60 divided by 10 is 6. Now I haven't put in any units for this, and that's because I already know what the part B states down here. It says describe the meaning of part A in terms of drug concentration and time. And so now I'm going to give my answer actually for part A as a full sentence, and I want to describe the meaning. So let's start with time. What is mentioned about time? Okay, up here it says after X hours. So I'm going to start my description here by saying after, and I'm not going to say after X hours, because in the problem right here it says evaluate for x equals 3, so after 3 hours. And maybe if it was on a test I'd actually write out the word 3 to prove that I could spell it. So after 3 hours, and then so I've got the time in, and now I'm supposed to say something about the drug concentration, so I'll just start out and say the drug concentration. The drug concentration and concentration. Wonderful printing here. Tration. T-I-O-N, I think. Yep. Concentration. Looks about right. The drug concentration, what? The drug concentration, well, let's see, after 3 hours, will be, I'm going to use will be, the drug concentration will be, and then I go back here and will be what? Well, this is what describes the drug concentration, the rational expression. And what did we find that the rational expression was equal to after 3 hours? 6. Okay, so now down here I say that the drug concentration will be 6, and then I just need to check for my units, and my units were in milligrams per liter. Milligrams per liter. Okay, milligrams per liter. And there I've described the meaning of part A, and I've mentioned time, 3 hours, and I've mentioned drug concentration. It will be 6 milligrams per liter. And that ends those two problems. See you next time.